Sinister stories.
I woke up earlier than usual, eager to capture the serene beauty of Central Park in the soft light just before sunrise. Camera in hand, I strolled through the quiet pathways, my eyes scanning for the perfect shot. I had always dreamed of being a photographer. I already loved to take pictures, but most of shots were obviously like nothing you see online. As I rounded a bend, I encountered a man, disheveled and appearing homeless. He stood there, oddly positioning his hands by his side as though he wielded guns in a duel, and then exclaimed, "I'm Wyatt Earp, and you are trespassing," while making playful shooting motions. Puzzled, I chuckled nervously and continued on my way, dismissing the encounter as just another oddity of the city. I continued my stroll through the park with my camera in hand and heavy backpack of equipment. I'd imagined the more equipment one has, the better the photographer you are. Well, after a few outings like this, that statement couldn't be further from the truth. So just kept walking, hoping to find a subject worth taking a picture of and not just another park bench. But soon after, another man approached me, this time claiming to be the devil. Strangely, he bore a resemblance to the first man, only dressed differently. He inquired about my deepest desire in life. I laughed and joked that I wanted to elevate my photography skills from amateur to professional. "Done," he replied with an eerie certainty before turning and walking away. Shaking my head at the bizarre encounter, I resumed my morning exploration. That's when I saw the first man again, back in his original clothes as Wyatt Earp. He once again had his hands to his side as if he partaking in a duel with me. Confusion clouded my mind. Had he changed outfits, or was this some elaborate game? I just looked away as if I didn't see him. I continued capturing the park's beauty, the encounter fading into the background as the sun painted the sky with pastel hues. But a lingering unease tugged at me. Hours passed, and I reviewed the photos I had taken, marveling at some unexpectedly breathtaking shots, yet a sense of disquiet lingered. As I packed up my gear and prepared to leave, I felt a strange presence behind me. Turning, I saw the two men standing together, Wyatt Earp and the devil, side by side, gazing at me intently. "What's happening?" I demanded, my voice shaky. "You got what you wished for," the man claiming to be Satan remarked with a cryptic smile. I felt a surge of panic rise within me. The air around them crackled with an otherworldly energy. Before I could react, they vanished into thin air, leaving me in a state of bewilderment. I searched around and found no traces of their existence. Suddenly, a realization dawned. The photographs. Frantically, I checked the images I'd taken earlier, only to find them looking more amazing than the first time I checked them. This was by far my best session as an amateur photographer. Then I saw that one picture, a landscape shot, now featured the haunting figures of Wyatt Earp and Satan lurking in the backgrounds, their forms as if they were just staring at me. Heart pounding, then the next photo was close-up of the two men, only their faces alone were completely out of focus. I didn't remember taking the photo. I only saw them together for a few moments. Since that day, my photography has skyrocketed. My pictures carry an uncanny allure, drawing both admiration and fear from online viewers. I've tried to rationalize the events, passing them off as a bizarre dream or a product of an overactive imagination. Yet when I revisited those pictures that morning, I saw subtle changes, whispers of something otherworldly captured within the frames, and sometimes, just sometimes, in the far distance of a shot, I caught a glimpse of Wyatt Earp and Satan, watching me from the shadows. When I got home, I uploaded the photos to computer right away, eager to see my days progress. Then something strange occurred. I could no longer locate the photos of the strange gentleman, and my camera's memory card was empty. I didn't know what had happened. All the other photos remained except the ones with the stranges I encountered on this day. The question still lingers. Were they figments of my imagination, or something more sinister, lingering within the fabric of my art? And as I continue to photograph, I can't help but wonder if they'll appear again, perhaps with new intentions or demands. I have returned to Central Park on many occasions after, but I never encountered the men again. The enigma remains, leaving the story of that peculiar morning in Central Park a mystery. In the quiet of the night, the local museum stood as a hallowed ground awaiting its grand unveiling, an exhibit dedicated to a revered science fiction series, The Lone and Deadly Space Hunter. Among the throng of eager enthusiasts was a teenage boy, Justin, consumed by an insatiable passion for the cinematic universe soon to be displayed. Fueled by impatience and fervor, he couldn't resist the allure of the exhibit and its treasures. Dressed meticulously as one of the saga's infamous villains, he snuck into the museum under the shroud of darkness. His heart raced with excitement and trepidation. Entering the exhibit felt surreal, a mosaic of relics, characters frozen in time, and artifacts that whispered tales of distant worlds. But as he wandered further into the halls, a subtle disquiet settled in. There was an unsettling energy, an almost palpable tension hanging in the air. Suddenly, a figure moved. The space hunter, previously an inert statue, shifted imperceptibly and then lunged at the boy with startling speed, weapon in hand. Panic surged as the realization dawned. The exhibits had come to life. Frantically dodging and weaving through the displays, the boy found himself pursued by the once static characters, now animated and fervent in their actions. Their eyes bore into him with an eerie fervor, mistaking him for the embodiment of their greatest antagonist. Desperate for sanctuary, he raced through the exhibit, seeking refuge from his childhood idols turned adversaries. But his costume, meticulously crafted in homage to their adversary, marked him as a foe. Cornered and surrounded, he sought shelter in a hidden alcove, catching his breath amidst the chaos. Yet the characters, convinced of his villainous guise, closed in, determined to quell the perceived threat. The once celebrated exhibit had transformed into a battleground, a clash between the boy and the very heroes he cherished. He was trapped within a nightmarish rendition of his beloved saga, cast unwittingly as the antagonist. Amidst the clashes and chaos that echoed through the museum's halls, uncertainty lingered. Would he find a way to convince his heroes of his innocence? Or would he succumb to the wrath of characters he idolized, becoming a tragic casualty in a tale he adored? The museum's exhibit, once a haven for imagination, had metamorphosed into an unpredictable realm where reality merged with the fantastical, a story left hanging in the balance, awaiting its enigmatic conclusion. As the teenager huddled in the alcove, the tension of the museum's exhibits had escalated into a frenzied conflict. Each beloved character, animated and resolute, closed in, their fervor fueled by an unwavering belief in the boy's malevolence. In a desperate bid to explain his presence, he attempted to reason with the characters, pleading his innocence. But his words fell upon deaf ears, drowned out by their fervent dedication to vanquish the perceived threat he posed. The boy's heart pounded with a mixture of fear and disbelief. How had his dream turned into a nightmare so swiftly? These were the heroes he had idolized, the figures whose adventures had fueled his imagination for years. Now they were adversaries, and their unyielding pursuit was relentless. With no escape in sight, he scanned the exhibits for any glimmer of hope. But the characters, guided by a sense of duty and honor, showed no signs of wavering. It was as if they were trapped in the roles they were sculpted to embody, unable to discern reality from their scripted existence. Fighting against a tide of relentless opposition, the boy's mind raced. In a daring move, he dropped his imitation weapon and raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. "Please, listen to me. I'm not your enemy." His voice quivered with urgency. For a fleeting moment, a ripple of hesitation shimmered across the characters' faces. It was as though a sliver of doubt crept into their resolute determination. But before the boy could capitalize on this fleeting chance, a sudden commotion erupted from the museum's entrance. The echoing clatter of footsteps reverberated through the halls as the museum's security guards rushed in, drawn by the disturbance. Flashlights danced across the exhibits, illuminating the chaotic scene. "Freeze! Don't move!" one of the guards shouted, spotting the boy amidst the tumult. Relief surged through the teenager as the guards intervened, their presence momentarily breaking the tension. Yet, as the guards' light swept across the exhibits, something unsettling occurred. The characters began to freeze back into their stationary poses, their movements halting abruptly as if returning to their inert state. The guards, startled by the sudden stillness, approached the boy cautiously. What's going on here? How did you get in?" They ushered him out of the exhibit, their voices laced with suspicion. In the wake of the chaos, the teenager stumbled out of the museum, his mind reeling from the surreal experience. Was it a dream? A hallucination brought on by his fervent passion for the series? He had to know the truth. As he glanced back at the museum's closed doors, he saw the characters frozen in their lifelike poses once more, the hauntingly familiar faces now seemingly devoid of the fervor that had animated them moments ago. The next night, driven by a mix of curiosity and a desire to unravel the previous night's enigma, the teenager returned to the museum. This time, he donned the attire of the saga's revered hero, hoping to convey his intent to make amends and prove his innocence. As he cautiously stepped into the exhibit, the eerie calmness of the museum's halls greeted him. The artifacts stood still, and the characters remained frozen in their familiar poses. But there was an underlying tension in the air, a palpable sense of wariness that hung like a heavy shroud. "Wait, it's me," the boy called out, his voice trembling slightly. "I've come to make things right." To his dismay, the characters, still entrenched in their steadfast belief that he was the villain from the previous night, remained motionless. The hero's costume he wore held no sway over their perception. Determined to prove his genuine intentions, the boy cautiously approached the hero figure, hoping to reason with the character he admired the most. "I'm not who you think I am. I just want to explain," he pleaded, his voice tinged with desperation. But as he drew nearer, the hero's eyes flickered with a glint of distrust. In a sudden flurry of movement, the characters sprung to life, their faces contorted with a mix of anger and suspicion. "You won't deceive us again!" the hero shouted, rallying the others to action, for there can only be one hero in every tale. Panic surged through the teenager as the characters closed in, their convictions unyielding. He tried to reason with them, to explain his true identity, but his words were drowned out by their fervent determination to stop what they believed to be a treacherous scheme. Ducking and weaving through the exhibits, the boy desperately attempted to evade the characters' advances, his pleas for understanding falling on deaf ears. But no matter where he turned or what he said, they saw only a sinister plot unfolding before them. Cornered once more, the teenager's heart sank with a heavy realization. There was no reasoning with them. The characters, bound by their scripted roles, were convinced of his ill intent, unable to discern the truth from the fiction they embodied. As the clash ensued, the museum's security guards, alerted by the commotion, rushed in. Startled by their arrival, the characters froze once more, returning to their motionless states. The guards, puzzled by the boy's presence and the chaotic scene that had unfolded and the damage that had been to the exhibit. The security guards escorted him out of the exhibit and threatened to call the police the next time he came around. Defeated and bewildered, the teenager left the museum, the weight of the night's events heavy on his shoulders. He couldn't shake the chilling realization that, to the characters within the exhibit, every story had only one hero, and in their eyes, he remained the antagonist, an unfortunate casualty caught in the turmoil of a reality that mirrored his beloved fiction, as nothing can be more discerning than being considered the villain of your favorite story.